I'm Dale Jarrett. He's Justin Allgaier, and this is the Sunoco Rookie Report. Justin, thanks for joining us here today. Let's get to know you a little bit, not in the seat of a race car, but I'm going to give you a word. You give me the first response that kind of comes to your mind. Driving idle.
Driving idle, Kenny Schrader.
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure, probably snacks, ice cream, pretty much any of that thing. It's not good for me, but you know, you got to have a little bit of it.
Got to have those, yes. Your favorite car?
Some of the older Camaros and Corvettes, like kind of the late '60s, early '70s. Just really love that era.
Enough of that. Let's talk some racing.
Absolutely.
Something we both enjoy a lot. Let's talk about your strengths as a race driver.
You know, one of my strengths, I feel like it's always been is longevity of a run. You know, being able to keep the speed in a car a little bit longer. Growing up, driving for my dad, you know, we were under budgeted and you know, we always were a little bit down on power and maybe didn't have the best body. So, you know, our strengths were always to try and keep the thing going as long as we could. And I feel like in some ways that's helped me, but in other ways that's hurt me. But I feel like that's probably my biggest strength.
I think you race extremely hard, and you know, I think all drivers will say that they do that, but in watching you can see that you really like to attack the racetrack.
For me, I try and put it all out on the table, and sometimes that has some penalties to it. But for me, you know, every spot that I can gain, or every little bit of time that I can gain, I may not have a car that will be capable of doing that later in the race.
There's another thing that has struck me in seeing you in the Nationwide Series, where you have some wins at completely different types of racetracks. And I think that's always a good indication of the talent of a race driver.
One of the things that, when I was growing up, my dad, he tried to put me in different types of race cars at different types of racetracks to try and just get as much experience as you could possibly get in all forms of motorsports.
Doesn't matter if you're a Hall of Famer, how many championships you might have won. Every driver looks at himself and said, I can do this better. Let's hear what you think you need to maybe work on as a driver to improve.
You know, a lot of times I'll make an adjustment to my driving style to match the car and to try and make the car go faster. When in reality, if I could just explain what I needed to start with, you know, I would be a lot better off.
Yeah, I think, did you read my notes?
I did not.
Do you need to be on this side of the table? If I'm going to be critical in any area of what I've seen over the years, it's whenever your car is not the best and trying to make up for that difference sometimes, instead of settling for that and then communicating to what you need and making changes on the cars. And that becomes even more important now that you're a Sprint Cup driver. I had to make a comparison of someone that I thought about that I would compare your talents to, and I came up with a driver that you mentioned earlier as one of your favorites, and that's Ken Schrader, who I think can drive anything, and obviously had a great career in the Sprint Cup Series. So speaking of all of that, my grade for you is going to be a C+.
It's super cool that you would come up with Ken Schrader. You know, somebody that's been a friend of ours, our families for a number of years, and obviously have a lot of respect for him and what he's been able to accomplish. So if you have to be compared to somebody, it's a good one to be compared to.
Great, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
This has been Justin Allgaier's Sunoco Rookie Report.